Hello, my YouTube friends. Thanks for joining in tonight. We want to welcome you to the Audio Master Show. We got some great stuff I want to go over tonight, man. I hope you guys got the time to hang out a while because I've got some great material I want to share with you guys. And we had someone write in and they had a real important question. And I thought, well, man, why not answer it? Because a lot of people uh, have a lot of home studios and probably have the same question that Tony had. And so I thought, well, why not just make a show tonight and answer Tony's question? So it's going to be a little long for you guys, but that's okay. If you have the time, man, hang out a while. We got some cool stuff. But I wanted to throw in before I get started, if you haven't joined the Audio Master Facebook group, now's a great time to do so, man. We got a lot of great things going on. It's a place you can go into your Facebook area and go to groups and type in Audio Master. And a lot of engineers and musicians from every level, man, are joining in. It's a great hub for us all to connect and hang out with one another and see what's going on. Ah, man. So this is what we have here. Audio Master. Hang on, let me get this a little closer. How can I get a great vocal take in my home studio? Tony Nelson. Okay, Tony, man, great question because, like I say, a lot of people have a problem getting good vocal takes in their studio. And I understand that, man. You're not in a professional setting for one thing. The room, it might not be adequate to do so. And so there's a lot of ambient noise going on and whatnot. And sometimes that can cause a problem. And that's the worst thing that you really want in your microphone. It may sound good as you're doing the tracking, but once you get all the elements in the mix and a dense mix, you may not want all that ambient noise in there. And that's 99.9% of the time. So I want to help you out, man, to get some great vocal takes. Number one, I want to say there's like 4 or 5 great key points I want to emphasize on tonight. This is going to help you out getting a good vocal take, man. There's nothing worse. I've been sent some tracks before, and there's nothing worse than getting a track where it was done in a home recording studio. The performance was completely off the charts. Everything was just perfect, except it was almost impossible to work with because of clipping. Clipping. Oh, man. You might be asking, well, what are you talking about clipping? Well, okay. Clipping starts by your preamp. And a lot of times, if you're singing in your microphone, your mic ain't going to clip. It's going to be the preamp that clips first. And so, a lot of times you might be saying, well, I got a great level on my DAW, so I don't understand why I'm clipping. Well, you're clipping at the beginning of the stage, and that's something you really need to pay attention to make sure that it always stays in the green and you do your gain staging appropriately so that. You don't get a bad clip. And when you hear it, man, it's like I say, it's almost impossible. It's this nasty, like crackle sound, and you really can't get it out of a great vocal take once it's there, man. I mean, start in the beginning and make sure you got a good level, but do some gain staging so that you always stay in the green, even if your vocalist gets a little loud and starts to start belted out and its performance. So that's something you need to pay attention to too. A lot of times when someone comes over, they may or may not be a vocalist that knows how to work the microphone. And if they don't and they're a beginner, it's really important that you know this and you can set up the microphone accordingly so that there's no explosives and sibilance problems and things like that, which we are going to talk about as we move on through this video tonight. But yeah, watching your DAW, make sure you got a good level. If you're hitting around minus 6 dB on your DAW, that's plenty enough headroom in there to play with and bring up levels and use compressors and everything else to get the signal hotter. But minus 6 dB is a good place on your DAW. Just make sure your preamp isn't clipping because that's where it starts. Number 2, the worst thing I've gotten, some audio takes from, other people that's recorded, in their home studio, and the worst thing that you can have to deal with is plosives, popping P's or popping B's. Ah, you can use a pop filter on that thing, but then again, sometimes people feel a little, uncomfortable, and they may be staying away from the pop filter, but then they keep moving in and moving in and moving in and moving in. And next thing you know, you have the proximity effect that you have to deal with. So I'm going to show you guys some techniques on setting up your mic. I'm going to actually just hold it in my hand, being that I don't have another mic stand available. And I thought this would be the best way to show you anyway. That way you can really kind of see what's going on. But another thing is watch out for that proximity effect. Like I say, if you get any microphone or most microphones that you can't change the polar pattern on it, the closer you get to the mic, the more boomier it sounds. And although it sounds good, you end up having to roll all that stuff off with EQ and put a high pass filter on it later on because it's not needed. So I'm going to show you a way to set your mic, like I say, and then also you probably want to watch out for sibilants. A lot of women have sibilance problems, but I've seen a lot of men like myself have some bad sibilance problems with their vocals as well. And a lot of times you can buy a cheaper microphone that isn't flat, and they boost those highs to make it more clarity in the mic. But if you're a person who has sibilance problems in your voice, it's not a good microphone that you want to use. However, if you have a vocalist that is a really good vocalist and she knows how to work the microphone, working the proximity effect on that microphone can be beneficial for a chick who has a thin voice. So there's a lot of little things that we can learn along the way to actually produce some great recording tracks in the studio, man, in your home studio. And so that's what's really cool about it. And then I'd want to say probably another thing is to watch out for the ambience in the room. I discussed that a while ago. You don't want a bunch of ambience in the microphone when you're tracking, only because later on you're going to find out that you really don't want that anyway, and you can add delays and whatnot to the track once you get to mixing, and that's really kind of how you want to do it unless you're an engineer who's experienced and know exactly what you're working with and want to track with some delays and whatnot. So let's talk about mic placement on. I've just got a Rode NT1 here, which is a really nice mic, entry level microphone that I've really enjoyed and used quite often on many tracks. And it actually took the place of some of my higher end microphones, but this is a beautiful mic. So I'm just going to show you guys with this mic how you can do it in your studio. If you have a room that's fairly small or a medium sized room, say it's a 10 by 10 or 10 by 11, 10 by 12, something of that nature, and you don't have a bunch of ambience in that room, say you have a couch in there, like in this room, the studio, I have a couch over there and I have things on the wall. I have diffusers. And so this is a treated room. My best place to do some tracking in this room is in the middle of the room, and that's why I really like. There's not a whole bunch of ambience and reflecting sound waves moving around in this room that can move back into the microphone. So the best place for me to track is in the middle of the room. However, if you're in a room and you can't get around it, and it's a more ambient room, you can also kind of move toward a corner of the room and actually place some sheets and things around you, not to where you're too far in the corner of the room, but somewhat in the corner. And it's going to block a lot of those sound waves from jumping around and coming back into the mic. But mic placement is a really, really important thing. I want to show you some cool tricks here, man, that go way back in time. I mean, I've even seen live shows done where John Lennon was actually using this mic technique on a live stage situation, and I'm sure there was problems in the room that they were having with ambience and whatnot getting into the mic and a little too much. And so I'm going to show you this technique. So hang in there Hang with me. I've got some cool little ideas I'm going to show you that works, and it's been proven to work time and time and time after again. So a lot of times you'll see a vocal mic. I'm going to try to do the side a little bit. Okay, where you can maybe this angle will work. Where the singer is here, and he's probably about 6 inches from the mic, and he's singing, and he's singing at one level at the beginning of the performance, and as the performance gets moving along a little further, he may be even singing a little closer and singing louder because he's excited, he's feeling good about things, he's more comfortable now. And then you have to watch those have to watch those levels on your preamp because he could be clipping that preamp. So a general rule of thumb that I like to use is to have a pop filter about 6 inches from the mic itself. Okay, that's going to control your plosives. All right, and then have the singer probably never get two more than 3 fingers away from that pop filter. Okay, so that puts him about 8 inches from the mic. If you really think about between 8 and 10 inches, depending on how powerful your singer is. Um, Now, if it's a singer that knows how to work the microphone, that's a whole different story because he can be a little more intimate and closer to that pop screen on the verses. And then when he gets powerful and starts to belt out the chorus, he knows to stand back from the microphone and to even sing off axis just a little bit, so the air is going this way across the diaphragm instead of right in it. So, a good vocalist knows how to work the microphone, can save you tons of time on trying to fix things later on, even if they can be fixed. A lot of times it can't be fixed and the track has to be redone. So that's something to consider you as an engineer, depending on if you're playing both parts. If you're just by yourself and doing it, just keep in mind to work the microphone, pay attention to your gain on your preamp so that it never clips. And it's a good idea to kind of have it in front of you. Or if you can do it in two different ways. You can sing the verses and then come back and then sing the choruses on another track. Um, that way, you can stand back a little further and sing the chorus sections because you're going to sing louder in the chorus sections. And then in your intimate parts, you can sing a little closer to the microphone. But here's a good thing that I've seen this technique actually. Uh, it was a it was a Beatles tune they were doing live, and John was actually singing, and the microphone was down here. Okay, so he was actually singing over the mic like this. Now keep in mind, it's the polar pattern was up, and so the mic was like this. So he was actually singing across the mic. So those p- 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 popping P's and popping B's, boys and push and all those things like that was the air was explosives were going over the capsule this way instead of right into the capsule directly. So that's a really good technique to do is to set your mic up like this and sing over the top of it. But my favorite way, being that I know how to work the microphone, and you can teach someone when they come into your studio how to work it. But if you just set your microphone up like this, okay, and if you have a pop filter on it, you can tilt it this way a little bit. Here, let me get it out of that view. So it's going to be higher, right? And then you want to tilt the pop filter like this. So when they're singing underneath this capsule, not too much to where it's flat, but at a good angle. And probably about, I would say, the top of the head would be a good place. If you get it too high, then your singer, a lot of times you may look over there and they're looking up and they're actually not singing correctly because their head's too far cocked back. And you don't want that. You don't want them to be singing with their head too far cocked back up, thinking that they need to get close to that microphone and sing like that. That's not good at all. And so, you need to pay attention to that as an engineer, or if you're doing the tracking, you need to pay attention to that as well. So there's just little techniques that will help you tremendously as far as those explosives getting in the microphone, and also a good singer knows, the best take that you're going to get out of your singer is when they're relaxed, and whenever they can sing. a verse or something to where it's so conveying that it feels like that they're so relaxed. It feels like they're talking to you. You know, it feels like the song is for you. A lot of times you'll have a singer come in and he'll have his notepad or whatever. He don't know the lyrics. So he's having to look at a notepad and sing the lyrics because he don't know them off heart. And it's you can tell as a listener, you can really tell that it's more robotic sounding and it doesn't sound natural because the singer doesn't know the lyrics and he can't express, being he doesn't know the lyrics, he can't express uh, in a convincing way um, that it's meaningful and it's heartfelt. And so, but there's a lot of people out there that don't have to deal with that or have to work with that. But if you're just starting out, I just want to give you some tips that's going to help you out as far as how to sing in front of a microphone, how to work the microphone. And another way is this right here, guys. So we talked about singing over the top of the mic, right? We talked about singing like that. You can even do that without a pop filter, right? So your explosives are going to be over the top. We talked about like this, okay? A pop filter, it angled, I'd say probably what, a 45, top of the head, with a pop filter right here, and then the singer actually singing underneath a little bit. You're not going to get any explosives like that. And another way is like this. This is the way I actually started out years ago. Is I would sing across it like this. So the air was actually passing in front of the microphone, more like this. Like this mic, I'm not talking right into the mic. Now I'm talking in the mic, right? Up close. And notice how deep it sounds when I'm up close, the proximity effect's working. And then notice as I get further back, it loses that deep sound. It loses that real deep sound that you're not going to need in a dense mix anyway. But if I get up close, the proximity effect starts to work, and it sounds like I'm right on top of everything. A lot of bass. It's real bassy and boomy. Sounds really kind of cool, right, for radio stations and whatnot. But it's not something that you want in your mix whenever a dense mix by far. So if you sing across the microphone like this, you're not going to get that proximity effect and it's going to sound really good. You're not going to get explosives in the mics. And also on sibilants too, it'll help. Just be sure that you get a mic that's more flat and then hyped up in those high frequencies. That's going to cause sibilants, and you can fix sibilants later on in the mix by DBing those big footballs down or putting a de-esser on something like that. But it's just more work. And if you can catch it in the beginning with a good microphone and good mic technique, this is going to save you a lot of time later on. So mic technique really is a big thing, Tony. And I just want to reiterate over and over again. I've seen it many times where people would send in some tracks and there was just so much, there was things I couldn't fix. And the biggest thing was clipping. And it's because they were clipping at their mic pre. And if you've ever heard a bad clip, it, like I say, it sounds really kind of nasty and crackly sounding. It's like a, and you can't really fix that in the mix. It just has to be um, the vocal take has to be redone. So pay attention to that mic pre, and that's going to save you a ton, save everybody a ton of time later on fixing. But mic placement, but I would have to say more than anything is just to try to, before you even go in a studio or if you're in your own home studio, try to practice some of these mic techniques, singing across the diaphragm like this, or singing across the top of the diaphragm like this. It's going to stop all those plosives and those B's and P's from getting in there. And it really sounds good. You think you have to be right here in front of the mic for it to sound good. I don't know. It just kind of looks cool to be standing in front of the mic, but you don't. You can actually be further away, and without a pop filter, you can. There's some videos I think I even shared on the Facebook group of people in the studio working the mic. A good vocalist knows how to work the mic, and they may be 10 inches away from the mic without a pop filter on it at all, man. And so, of course, whenever they get into those P's and B's, they might turn their head a little bit to where the air is going this way across the mic. Okay. And so, yeah, think about that, man. That might be something you might want to teach your beginners that are coming in the studio, and maybe they're even wanting to do a studio, have a studio themselves and get started. And so, Tony, those I gave you 5 good things that's going to help get a good vocal take. One is clipping the mic pre. There's no fixing that, dude. So you're gonna have to watch that mic pre and make sure you're not getting in the red. You want to always stay in the green. And then two explosives, popping P's and popping B's. If you can stop that with a pop filter, or just angle it like I was saying, that's going to help tremendously. Another thing is siblings problems. You can fix that in the mix, like I say, but if you can actually find the right mic for the right person, that's even better. And then I would say the other thing would number 5 would be ambience. You don't want a whole bunch of ambience, room noise in the main vocal take, because a lot of times, 99.9% of the time, like I was saying earlier, you're not going to want all that ambient noise in a dense mix. And so a lot of times, when you want to try to get in a position to where in the room, or in a place to where you don't have a bunch of reflections coming back into the microphone. It sounds really cool, man. Like I say, if you set somebody up in a bigger room or whatever, or a bathroom, or where there's tile on the floor and tile halfway up the wall, like those old houses or whatever, it sounds great. It sounds sounds great singing in the shower. But here's the thing, man. You don't want that. You do not want that sound in your mix. You want to add your delays and whatnot later on, and it's just a lot better, easier to work with. And so, anyway, I was hoping this video would help out, Tony, and I'm glad you wrote in, because there are so many different things that you can do. One, choose the right microphone for the I would say instrument. Every vocalist, a vocal is an instrument, so choose the right instrument for the right vocalist. And then if you have, like I say, if you have a girl singer with a lot of siblings problem, it's usually the girl, but I'm a siblings uh dude that have problems with siblings. But choosing that right mic, man, is going to save you tons of time. And so ribbon mics work really good on girls who have a thin voice, and who have a siblings problems in their voice as well. So that might be something you might want to use on a girl, or if you have a thin voice and you're a man, you might want to use a ribbon microphone on them as well. So I just wanted to share some great ideas with you guys tonight. And by the way, this little entry level, I say entry level for like $289. This Rode NT1 really is a professional microphone, so don't let it fool you. There's actually songs out on the radio that people have used the NT1 microphone on their vocals. So it's a really, really good mic. It is a microphone, the lowest self noise mic that you can get, and out of all the microphones. And so it may be something that you might want to try out and see if it works for you. I know that it's worked for me. I've actually sang a tune called Next to Me. You can check it out and go to our Trib Next to Me official video and check out me singing through this Rode NT1. It actually sounds pretty decent, man. And I was real happy with it. But yeah, try out those different mic techniques. Try underneath where you're singing over, try sideways where you're singing across, and try about a 45 around the top of the head with a pop filter like that, and singing underneath. You'll just have to play around with it, but you'll get it, man. It's not too hard. And it'll work out for you, man. You'll get some great, great, great tracks doing it this way. And I think you're even going to surprise yourself, man. And so thank you so much, Tony. I appreciate you writing in. I hope, like I say, all these questions, I hope I answered a few good ones for you. And I hope they work out for you, man, because these are professional tips that many people use worldwide. and have been using for a long, long time. So I'd like to send you that video. I can't think of the name of the video that I seen John Lennon singing in there. It was actually a live performance, but anyway, it's a great mic technique. Hey, Steve, what's it going on, man? Let's see. That's right. It's not that you can't sing in time or in key while reading lyrics. The issue, you'll never nail the performance better than knowing the lyrics in advance without having to read them. Perfect. I'm glad you brought that up, Steve, and reiterated on that because it's how the artist really delivers the message, right? Phrasing is everything. I guess that's the word I should have used earlier. But it reminds me of a bunch of stuff that Johnny Cash did. Dude, he doesn't sing his gymnastics. He doesn't sing all the scales of the Degum. But you know what? He could sing the Degum telephone book and sound like a genius. I mean, just it's the way he delivers the song to where you really feel like he's singing it for you, you know? And that's a beautiful thing when your artists know the song and they can actually do several takes and phrase it a little differently every time, or at least a couple times. And then you can pick and choose what phrase y'all can sit down together or whatever, and you can listen to it and say, "Oh, I like this. I like the way you did that." And a lot of times, Stephen, I know you probably ran this before too, where the artist he'll say, "Stop, stop," and you don't want to never stop the take because what he thinks might not be a good take after you guys both listen to it, you're going, man, there's no way. I love that. Let's not change that. Let's keep that. I know I've done that plenty of times, man. Thought I'm goofed up and then actually got to listening back to it, Steven, and it's like, man, are you kidding me? How could I ever want to delete that, man? So, great point, Stephen. I appreciate you bringing that up, man. Hey, and I wanted to say to you while I got you on here, man, if you want an Audio Master T-shirt, I got you one. Just private message me, man. I'll get one out tomorrow. I'll send you one. If, I got a large, I got an extra large. That's all I got left, but it's that tri-blend stuff. So I think a large would fit you, man. It's stretchy. But anyway, yeah, I appreciate you being on here. I hope you're enjoying your trip and whatnot. And let's do that interview, man. I want to talk about all kind of cool stuff, how you got started in the music business, and what led you to love music and be on this journey that a lot of us are on about just equipment and gear and guitars and recording and just getting people in and recording them. So we can talk about all that kind of cool stuff, man. I want to bring you in, man. Let's hang out together. So anyway, I'm gonna keep it short tonight. And Tony, I hope that helped you out, man, as far as getting you down the road and getting some good tracks in your recording studio, your home recording studio. Just pay attention to those. Pay attention to your mic pre or your interface, however you're getting in. Stay out of the red, stay out of all that, and just stay in the green, man. You're gonna be cool. And practice on a little gain staging. You can do it on the end of your DAW or rather than on your mic pre because you don't want it to clip. Okay, minus 6 dB on your DAW, you should be good to go, man. And you can bring all that stuff up with compressors and all that good stuff, man. So we'll do another video on that. But thank you so much, you guys, for joining tonight. Thank you, Steven, for joining tonight. I appreciate that. If you wouldn't have brought that up, I wouldn't have thought about phrasing. So I appreciate it, man. I appreciate you joining in as always here at the Audio Master Show, and we will see you guys tomorrow night. Thanks for joining in, man.